Today we're starting on a major radio build project. Well, major for me anyway. And it's not in a go box. It's not in my truck. It's right here. Finally, after 6 years, I am building a station right here in the 8-ton radio go box. You ready? Let's go. Hi, my name's Mike. I'm a full-time traveler and ham radio operator. I activate amazing parks all over the United States. Join the adventure and see what's next.
Wow, do I really look like a guy with a plan?
That traveler has
I just do things.
This is a huge, beastly, bulging man. Plates were from Kansas.
Hey radio friends, I'm Mike, Kilo Echo Zero Victor India Mike, and this is the Travelin Ham. All right, so this is gonna be the first of probably a few videos on this build out here. Let's give some backstory first. What ended up happening when we moved into the RV is I just never really got settled in a spot for myself, a place to work, a place to be able to have a station that I can just turn on and operate. I tried a few different spaces and nothing really worked or clicked very well. And you know, before I knew it, we're 2 years into traveling and I just don't have a space. We bought that clamshell to use outside and to give me a space, you know, at least some of the time that I could have a dedicated space, you know, but I couldn't leave equipment out in there. It still wasn't a real permanent spot. So what we came up with this year was to repurpose this chest of drawers. And what we have now, you can tell what we did for this year was we just removed the drawers. This space was just 2 large storage drawers that my wife and I kept clothes in. We're up here in the bedroom in the front of the RV, and that's what this was for. So then this became a desk. But it still wasn't a really good and efficient use of this space. And this desk sits a little high, so I'm having to kind of, you know, my arms aren't at a comfortable level to work. They're elevated just a bit, and you know, it's just not comfortable. A place that you want to. It's not comfortable enough to sit at here for hours a day. So I have decided I'm going to pull this out, and we're going to go with more of what you would see in a mobile type setup. It's all going to be attached to this wall, and you know, then I'll have unlimited ergonomics regardless of what chair I get to sit here. So I've got 2 of the Lido L Max mounts that I'm going to set up here, one for a laptop and one for radios. And we've got plans for extra screens and all that. So for right now, we're talking about step 1. We're going to remove this. We're going to attach the backing to the wall. I'm hoping I've got metal studs on either side of this window that I can attach my 1/2-inch plywood to give me something to screw onto, because I'll show you this. We cut this out of the side of our RV to put in our, when we got our washer dryer combo, this is what the dryer tube goes out of. So I had to cut a hole this big in the side of my RV, but it gave us a really cool cross section of what our wall looks like. You know, we've got an actual 4-season package where it's filmed with foam, so at least the insulation in the walls is decent for an RV. There's been a lot of 4-season campers where all you have is like a sheet of Mylar in there and then it's space and that's it. But you can see how thin, you know, just this piece right here is how thick my walls are. It's 1/8 of an inch. It's a little bit thicker on the outside because you've got the fiberglass outer part too. But the inside is just this 1/8 inch little thin piece there. So we're going to put a 1/2 inch of plywood onto that and screw it into the studs. So that'll give me a surface along this back wall where I can attach whatever I want, wherever I want, and not have to focus on, you know, where these 2 metal studs are. I'm just going to use that 1/2 inch plywood to hold everything up. So that's the strategy. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get started today. I've got some of the prep work done. I've got this all cleaned off and ready to come out. I've got the boards. Well, the plywood that comes in here is going to be totally unfinished. It's going to fit up against the wall. between the bathroom vanity here and our closet space here. It's going to be underneath the countertop here. And then I've got some painted wainscoting panels that'll go on the face of that'll pretty it up. The plywood's very unfinished. I've got notes written on it, and I was drying off my paintbrush on it and things like that. So it's all marked up, but that's okay. It's just structural. It's not anything we're gonna paint to look pretty. I've also built a shelf to go along the bottom here. I don't know if you can see it, but one of the structural members, part of the frame for the RV, is right here. And what I've done is I'm going to put my a shelf right on top of that. It's still going to be attached to the wall, but it's going to rest right on top of it. And that's where I'll put my 3 Bioenno batteries. That's where they will live to charge. So their weight won't just be on those screws, you know, hanging out of that wall. They'll actually rest on this. I won't screw or attach into it. It's all going to go into the plywood. And it even makes a 90 right here. So this side of it will be supported as well. I'll have support on 2 sides from the frame of the RV. So that'll be really good. All that weight should be on that, and it shouldn't yank out. The other thing that this does by having the plywood on here is that if we were to sell this RV soon at any point in the future, I could take all this out, zip the plywood out of the wall, and we could build all this back and get it back to a regular situation if that's what we want to do to sell it. So that's it. I don't think I can talk about it anymore. It's time to just do it. Let's go. Go a little faster than that. Get that thing up to its full speed. There we go. All right, that seemed to free some stuff up there. Temperature sensor, take that out. Okay, I got some back here too. There we go. That thing will just drop out on my head now. There we go. All right, we're loose now, by golly. All right, I need to be able to disassemble this to the point that I can put it in storage. I gotta see how that's gonna happen. I need flat pieces. So, you can see here, I've got some pocket screws that I think are connecting this leg to the top, but one of them's covered up by that little piece of trim there. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that out. I may have to do that by hand. And then this one down here, same thing. Huh. There is a screw down in that pocket that's barely exposed there. There's a screw in there. How dare they? Just starting to break a sweat here. Can you see the sheen? It has been warm. Wow. They have built this thing such that they do not want it coming apart. It's all stapled. Can I maybe start prying them up like so? I think. Okay, that was a little destructive. More so than I wanted to be. The rest of it's all held together by staples. RVs. RVs. I gotta leave that main door open. Might get some house noises infiltrating the video. Ah, man, I can't pry them out from the top. They're embedded. Okay. Yes. Okay. That's mostly working. Oh, that panel. Okay. That, so they screwed all this together and then put these framing pieces in and actually covered up my access to these screws. So I have to rip it apart in order to be able to take it apart. And this is stapled in both this way. This piece right here is stapled in both this way and that way. I could just chisel out some of this so I could just get to that. I'm on it. I'm on it. Oh yeah. Okay, that's the easier of the two. There is less of a gap on this one. I can just mar this up a little bit to be able to get my driver in there like so. There, I'm on it. So much of what I've worked on this RV, it's just nothing is made to ever be worked on, taken apart, reconfigured at all. It's stuff like this. You have to cause damage in order to work on something. This is not cool. Wanted to get the back of my stereo at one point that's installed in the RV. And they had framed out the shelf, put in the stereo, and then skinned the whole thing. So everything, all the skin's stapled in, and I can't get to the stereo without ripping out skin that's stapled in. And that was really frustrating. It's still attached there somehow. What is it? What is your secret? What are you hiding from me? All right, I think there's a staple in there. Oh my gosh. All right, I'll haul this stuff out of here. Okay. So this is the first time I've actually been able to have access to this whole space here. So one rather interesting aspect is here, I know I had 48 inches in between these things. I pretty much know my height in here, but I've never actually been able to fit anything in this space. So these pieces that I've prepared, I don't know if they fit. Here is one that's a big question. I get it oriented in here just right because the panels are cut to match it. So it's got to go in oriented this way. Probably have to put it in at an angle like so. Okay, the height is good. But it seems as though it's too long. Shucks. Yeah, it is. It is too long. Yeah, it is right at 48. I mean, this is the 4-foot side of a piece of plywood, but man, it seems like it's right there too. It can't be off by much. Maybe the space just isn't quite square. What about at the bottom? Yeah, see wow, that's an inch less. Wow. How about that? How's that for square? I got 47 inches right there. And 48 inches right there. Holy crap, an inch? Are you kidding me? Okay, I think I can see it here. I think this kind of bows out. Can I just push that in maybe? It looks like the vanity has pushed out. Maybe I can push that in. There's something there, I think. Let me just look at it. I can see it sloping out there. That's crazy. Okay. Okay, so looking here in the vanity, that's my corner. I don't see anything holding that in place. It seems like it should just come right in. It might be that it was cut too long. I was expecting to find a little block right there or something that it's nailed to, but I don't see anything. Is it nailed down here at the bottom? Boy, it feels like there's something there. It's doing nothing. It's giving me rug burns on my hand. There, that's got it working. Ugh. It's just a hair, it was cut just a hair too long. And so they couldn't push it all the way in to make it flat. And with the dresser that was going here, it didn't matter. So they didn't worry about it. Maybe I could just chew up the bottom enough. I could just push it in. This is not going to be visible in either scenario. Cause just enough damage on the bottom of it that I can put it in. Yes. It so feels like it's on something. It's nailed to something. That's just what it feels like. Okay. Maybe that'll do it. That might have done it. That might have done it. Okay, I think my GoPro overheated somewhere in that. I got turned off, but I was able to kind of, I don't know how much I lost. I was able to take my screwdriver and kind of mar up the bottom of this side of the panel here so I could push it in at the bottom, and I got it in enough that I could get this plywood in here to fit. And that's a really nice tight snug fit. Perfect. I had to kind of, you know, bang on it a little bit to get it to fit in there. So that's good. So the plan from here is I've got some pretty skins I'm going to put on this so you don't see all this mess. This repurposed piece of plywood that's got my notes and measurements and calculations all over it. I'm going to have a battery shelf that sits right here. It's going to sit on this ledge, so it's going to get a lot of extra support there, and it'll be screwed into this board just to hold it in place. I'm going to have another shelf in here somewhere that's going to have my handheld radios, and they can all charge there. But the thing I got to get to first is get this 2 LMAX stands in here for the laptop and the radio, and see how they fit in the space and how everything else is going to fit after all that. So that's really what I'm after, is just getting this project to that point. I've got the radio LMAX base already, and the one for the laptop has arrived, but my post office isn't open till Monday. Today's Sunday. I had to go pick it up, so I'll get that tomorrow morning. I'm going to get this all pretty much finished out, so then all I have to do is put in the 2 LMAX stands tomorrow, and then we kind of reevaluate it and say, okay, I want an extra monitor here. How am I going to mount that? I want maybe an extra TV monitor here. How am I going to mount that? Where is this shelf going to be able to go? You know, how's all this stuff going to play together? Now that I can see the space, I got my base in there, I can actually try and plan and figure this thing out a little bit. But happy with it so far. Now I just got to find where the metal studs are. I'm assuming it's just on the outside of the frame of this window, and I'll be able to screw this into place right there. And as tight as it fit, I think that's all I'll need. And then I can attach the pretty panels, screw those on, and that'll be it for the day. I gotta go take a break though, because I'm burning up here. All right, sorry about the fan noise here. I've just had to cut this thing on to help keep the camera cool so he can keep going. So I'll have a little bit of background noise there. So I've got this in here. Now I'm going to see if I can locate my metal studs in here. The wall really just feels pretty solid. It's hard to tell. I think because it's packed with foam, it just feels solid all the way. It's not like a drywall, a gypsum drywall where you can just come through here and pound on it. You can kind of feel where it's at. None of that at all. So I'm just really assuming there's a couple right there that this is screwed into, and that'll do it. But I'll mar up the wall a little bit to look, and I will do it behind where this is going to be. So I need to pull this dude back out, unfortunately. Okay, so we'll just set him right here. Somewhere in here. Didn't hit it there. It's a little concerning. That's really where I thought it would be. Huh. Ha! Come out a little bit farther. I don't have a tester anymore. It's some of the specialized tools I just don't have room for. Maybe it's over just a bit more. Oh yeah. Okay. I can't go in right there. So where's the edge of this dude? Right there, okay? There's the other edge of this dude. Just outside of that. Okay. Okay, so this guy pretty much lines up with this edge right here, it seems. So we'll try that on this side. About right here. I'll come over a little bit to hope I hit it. It feels right. Yeah, okay. Over a little bit. Okay. I just want to roughly mark where this is at here with some tape. Mark the middle of this space here roughly. I don't have to get too exact with this part. So, hey, go figure. That right there, that's my mark. Is that going to be my mark on both sides? That would be good. I'll put a piece of tape here just to remind myself of that. Would that have been my indication the whole time? All right, so those are my marks. I'll tell you this much. You cannot count on things being done the way they should be when you're working in an RV. But in this case, it does seem that these were inserted in the studs. This is what holds on to the string for our blinds, and this is also where the that table I just took out came in and screwed into the wall right here. So great, that at least was done proper. So now I can put that the 1/2-inch plywood back on here. See if we can screw it up. Orientation right, front and bottom. A little bit of convincing, but not too much. Not much to worry about here. All the plumbing's over there. There's nothing electrical on this wall here. Very little that can go wrong in this, knock on wood. Very little that can go wrong. Getting them good and recessed into the wood so they don't stand proud at all when I put the cover on. That's the structural stuff. Now the pretty stuff. Okay, now we're coming in with the pretty stuff. I've got it oriented the right way. This is just some really thin wainscoting paneling. And, you know, it roughs in there pretty good. So that's going to be, that's nice. That looks good. That's going to make the wife happy. Nice finished look. You know, a lot of the trim in the RV is black. All the metal work is black. So having this black is going to fit in nicely with the existing original decor. And again, I'll put a black piece of trim on the top. I got some quarter round to cover that, so that'll look pretty. I've got to paint it. I've been waiting for this moment though, because I'm not sure how this will work out and all that jazz. So that's yet to come. But we're going to get this attached in today, and that's going to look nice. And let's see, I got to put this one on first. The one on the left has to go first. But I want it, they're not quite perfect. So I think I got to walk this one on the left in just a touch. They got just a little bit of overlap, a little bit of tongue and groove, like some flooring. So I just gotta, you know, I just gotta plan that part out right. And I think that'll do it. I'm gonna use the 1-inch screws for these. And now I can screw these in wherever I darn well please. I have to touch those up with some paint. I don't need to put too many screws in any of this stuff because I'm going to add a bunch as time goes on. You know, I'm going to put a shelf across here, a shelf across here. I just need to hold it in place for now. That's hard for me to do. I'm a guy that'll overdo anything. So it's hard just to put a few of something in. If anything says apply conservatively, that's a red flag to me. Okay. Now, I'll get this one positioned just where I want it. Need more gap at the bottom. That's it right there. Okay. Kind of shreds it and pulls this unpainted paper up, so I'm gonna have to touch that up. I think this is gonna turn out nicely. Might even get a regular screwdriver and tighten these to the point that the Phillips head is straight up and down. Do that little trick. That little finishing trick. Not bad. Not bad. I'm reasonably happy with that. I don't know if I can put some more light on that for you. It's a little dim in here. Does that help? Not bad. Had some water run on them here. This must have been the piece that I kept down in storage. That works good. I think when I get that quarter round piece on top of here, that's going to look pretty sharp. This one stands a bit proud right there. We'll see how that turns out. So the next part is the battery shelf. That's going to go along the bottom here. I just got to rip it down because I made it too wide. I mean, I'm going to be sitting right here. You know, it's going to be in my foot space a little bit. My feet can go under it because this is raised quite a bit. This is pretty much like that's almost exactly the same as a toe kick on a kitchen cabinet. But I don't want it coming out 8 inches. I only want it coming out 6 inches. because that's all it needs to be for the batteries. So everything will work better there. So I've got a little faceplate on it that'll keep the batteries from sliding off while we're driving. So they'll be totally enclosed. So that's screwed onto the edge of the plywood. I'll just take that off, cut off 2 inches and put it back on. And then bring it in and screw it in. Going real good so far. All right, folks, this is looking nice. Looking nice. Now I've got my my battery shelf here. So this is the one that's gonna go right along the bottom. I have messed it up a little bit here. You could probably see I had to rip it again. I took this part off and ripped this down so it was not quite so deep. This is gonna be right down here by my feet, and I don't want this any wider than it has to be. So that's it. And it's ripped from the same piece of plywood that was the same length or width in this case. So I think it should still fit in there just as perfect as the piece that I put in. The fact that that's worked out, oh gosh. The fact that that's worked out so well is pretty awesome. And there we go. That's how that's going to sit. I mean, it almost sits perfect in there without without any screws. That's pretty amazing. But I'll have to touch that up. I'll come in here with my little can of paint, and I can set it on that shelf now, and I'll touch up these screws. I'll touch up the front part of this shelf that got all chipped up in the sawing, and we'll get it looking better. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to take this. I'm gonna have to take this piece off again. I just put it back on after I ripped it down. I'm gonna have to take it off again, unfortunately. But I got it all pre-drilled, so it'll go back in there just how I want it. All right, so I got that piece off. Now we got the really ugly front visible on here. Oh, I'm hitting a screw. To the side a little bit. There we go. Got my countersink bit on here. Oh, hit a screw. Man, what are the odds of me doing that twice? In my chair, this is not the in chair, this is just a little camping chair. I got our eyes set on a few really nice folding chairs. This is what I've been sitting on, and yeah, that works out nice. That 2 inches, I don't know if you can see this, but that 2 inches made a huge difference. This will be right on my shin. I can kick that framing member that's under here, and my shins do not hit that shelf, so that's nice. If that had been 2 inches wider, it'd be right there. Very good. A little messy right now, but I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, and then I think I'll have to put up my stuff for tonight, and I'll have to wait until I can get my hands on the LMAX stand for the laptop, you know, and I'm gonna make it so this laptop will sit right here and nice. You know, the keyboard's gonna be ergonomic right here. The mouse is gonna be ergonomic right here. The screen, however, is gonna be too low. So that's why I'd like to have another one up here that I would probably use as my primary work screen. So it'd have to be on something that can attach here and telescope up a little bit. And I'd like to have another television screen right here. And I'd like that one to be able to actually come up quite a bit. So I'll have to shop some mounts, see what I can get that to work. But I want to get this in and see how this looks first. I've got a couple lag screws that I bought that I'm going to put in to here, and that's what I'm going to attach the LMAX bracket to. So it's made to attach to the bolt of your seat, your car seat. So I'm going to put a lag screw in, and then that thing will fit right in here and bolt it down nice and snug. I don't know if I'm going to do it horizontally on this or vertically on this shelf. I'll probably do it horizontally into the wall. I may even go through this brace here, so then I'll have that lag screw through, you know, 1.5 inches of wood before it even touches the wall. So that's it for tonight. I just got to snap my fingers and make it tomorrow when we have the laptop mount. Ready? Okay, folks, here's the deal. I'm at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. This is going to be a special one of the most intense trails. This is the operating station. That's a bear.
Wow. Do I really look like a guy with a plan?
That traveler has
I just do things.
He was a huge, beastly, bulging man. Plates were from Kansas.